Now we will talk about different ways to collect VOCs. Okay, so VOCs, which is voice of customers, you must have seen can be, you yourself have participated in it a lot of times. When a call comes or a question comes or a message comes, wherein we also participate. Okay, and sometimes when it comes to the internal organization, there are a lot of focus group, there are a lot of interviews happened just to identify what could be the reason. So to collect VOCs, it can be interviews, it could be surveys, it could be we become a customer and participate in it and start giving our views. Okay, so where you see that all these things, be it audit, be it a focus group, listening post, past complaints, everything plays a very important role. Okay, and why it is important to collect it. Sometimes when you do projects, when you try and identify certain causes also, but sometimes we could not find any sort of a solution also, and then in that case we take a route wherein we call the customer and ask what is that issue that you're facing. So I'm just sharing it in a defined phase that one particular characteristic of collecting VOC is to typically identify what customer is looking for, and this kind of a VOC is also sometimes required to identify that what is that reason that why customer has given us as a bad rating. Okay, so this is a very powerful tool of collecting VOCs, because it is only the customer who would tell us that why he's not happy or why he's dissatisfied. What are those reasons? So we keep on using these tools, VOCs, questionnaires, calling customers, sending messages, doing surveys at each point in time. And you also as a consumer might have observed that sometimes there's a lot of calls being come to you after the service that you've used. Sir, we would like to know about your experience. Sir, we would like to know that what are the recommendations that you provide. So all these things forms a kind of a strategy which can be used at different stages. Can be used to identify the problem that you're facing. Can we try to identify that what exactly the problem is? Can also be looked at what could be the solution that you could be provided, because sometimes we ask a customer, sir, what is that you're looking for? So what is that we can work on? Okay, so this is one of the best research tool collecting VOCs, and you would see that these tools get used at various stages of Six Sigma projects. Okay. Has anybody ever participated in any kind of employee satisfaction survey ever in their organization?
Yeah. I
Yes,
did
we
for
have.
some time. Yeah.
Okay. There are a lot many companies who believes in, and I'm saying nowadays every company, because as you all know that employees are the most important part of any value chain. It is not the customers, I would say it is the employees, because it's employees who are working for the customers. Therefore, we are getting revenue generated. So therefore, a lot of opportunities can be identified from the voice of employee survey as well. This is something which what we are saying, what we as an organization or what we as a human being believe that which needs to be focused on. So that's what voice of employee is also one of the criteria that needs to be looked at. And why am I discussing it in the define phase? Because when we are defining an opportunity, we also look at from an employee perspective. So for example, I am doing a project on improving the cycle time. Okay, cycle time, I'm sure everybody's aware of, which means a turnaround time. We've taken example of, let's say we are doing a project on improving the turnaround time of delivery time of Domino's. The average timing is 50 minutes. Okay, now we want to reduce it to 30 minutes. Let's say this is an opportunity. Now, why we're doing this? Definitely it will improve the customer, because customer would be delighted. Okay. Second, it would improve the business, because they will get their better satisfaction score. They will get more branding. They will get more revenue. They will get word of mouth. But what about employee? Will employee not be happy also? Employee would also be satisfied, because when the employee is taking 50 minutes, he is also facing a lot of trouble. He is also doing a lot of hands-on, which means the process is very, very complicated. That's why it is taking 50 minutes. And people are also struggling kind of. When there are 5 different departments and all of them takes 50 minutes to deliver a product, which means somewhat they are also facing a lot of challenge, which can be identified through voice of employee survey. So in the defined phase of Six Sigma, we not only look at that particular opportunity from a business standpoint, from a customer standpoint, we also look at from a voice of employee standpoint. So when we define, when we'll discuss the project charter components, we would also discuss that we need to mention the impact of the employee as well as impact of the customer or business in that section also. So if you have never thought from that perspective, that how it is going to happen, how it is going to help the employee, this is also to be looked in the Six Sigma projects, voice of employee as well. Any question, any comment, anything which you can recall, any example which you want to quote, wherein you think voice of employee can be fit in?
Simarpreet, I have a question here. Like whether it's a voice of business employee or the customer. In the previous slide, we saw that that needs to be translated to the CTQ, right? So
Yes.
I just want to know, will we cover any topic which will help us in understanding how we can convert these things to the CTQ or the metrics that you were talking of?
Yes, yes, we will do that.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
I will give you I will give you certain scenarios after the break, wherein I would give you 5 or 10 minutes, wherein I would ask you to convert, okay, from customer need to customer VOC to CTQ to KPI. Yeah, we will do that exercise for sure.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
We'll do that exercise after the break because it's already 9 o'clock. But still, if anybody has any question of what we have discussed so far, please feel free to ask. Or any comments, anything which you want to add, which you want others to understand, others to follow, we'll take that into consideration.
Simarpreet, there is a one thing in a voice of customer, like focus group. So what exactly it is?
Okay. So focus groups are basically done in the workplace itself, okay, or sometime it is done in different teams also. Focus group is the ones wherein some of the expertise are being called to identify that what would have caused that particular problem or what would have caused the particular issue that we have. Okay, so for example, in an organization, if any CEO or if any uh, CEO or of any business head wants to know the nerve of the people, what is the people looking for, so he call some random people from the group and ask them to share their opinion. With the help of that, they identify certain actionable items which need to focus. So focus groups are the ones wherein a limited set of audience are being called randomly, just to understand their view, just to understand their perspective, to exactly understand what the problem is. That is the focus group.
Yeah, and a little addition to that, it's a diverse group. So people who take part in the focus group discussion, they are from different diverse background, not necessarily to be from just one side of thing. It would be yeah.
Yeah, and that's why they're called random. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
So